We are finally about to finish this freaking game. Holy.
Well, are you crazy? You give up and we're done. Both of us. There's no coming back. Why give up? There's so much more fun to be had out there. Think about it. All those heads to smash, all those bones to break. It's like the world's greatest theme park and you're crying to get off the ride.
Your fears got the better of you, I see. How fitting that I will win, and Batman's life will be over. Not because of what I have done to your precious city, but because you are scared of what I will do to your friends, your family. They are your weakness, hiding just below the surface. I'm sure that you're scared of what will happen when I tear that mask from your face. What will we find? Your true identity, or proof that without your mask, you are nothing, impotent, powerless, afraid. Leave your equipment on that table, and we can find out.
All right. Wait. Can you make a choice? I don't think you... Wait, can't you make a choice? Isn't there a true ending to this game? Yeah, I think there is a true ending to the game, right?
The fear of what I will do to your friends will bring you back. You know it. I know it.
Oh, I see. So you do. You have to do it. They know that you want to resist. All right. Got it. Whoa. Wait, is there a choice in this? Is there? I don't know. I have no idea.
Master Bruce, can you hear me? I'm detecting someone tracking your movement through the city.
I knew he would.
I think I may have missed something, sir. Who are you talking?
The die is cast, Batman. And from now on, I need your undivided attention. The nightmare is almost over. Your failure almost complete. I can see it. And soon the whole world will see it too. Your eyes betray you. You are truly afraid.
Oh my gosh. Holy. Jeez. Wait, what the? Oh, yeah. I see. Okay.
Such a happy couple. Shame about the kid, though. Poor little Brucey never quite got over it now, did he? Well, there's no point crying over spilled blood. It's time to move on, kiddo. Let go. Take a load off. Join your parents. Uncle Jay will take it from here.
Oh my gosh. Jeez.
You can't win this time, Batrain. This city needs me. It'll be perfect. My mind, your body, the best of both worlds. It can't be easy having someone taking over your mind, especially someone like me.
Oh, come on.
Bruce, take a look around. Now, I hate to be a pessimist, but you are a tad outnumbered.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, come on, Bats. Your dead mom and dad can hit harder than that. I've had to put up with a lot tonight, Bats. Following you round like a damn lapdog. That's all going to change. Now I get to decide. I get to decide everything. Hey! And what about that encyclopedia on wheels? Whose filing cabinet is she going to reorganize now? Go on, Bats. You know you want to. There's only one way to stop me, Brucey, old boy. Come on. You've killed me once already. It gets easier every time.
I mean, I'm technically not against it. It's kind of propaganda to say that you shouldn't kill a mega supervillain. No, it's absolute propaganda, sorry. But to be more accurate, I guess I have to do. I can't do it.
For very long. Even the ones who come back end up hating you. But can you blame them? Everyone close to you gets tortured, kidnapped, or killed.
Man.
Oh, go on. Do it.
Yeah, I guess what? Do I have to? Again, I don't have an issue with it. But I want to be, authentic to Batman. I'm pressing other buttons, it's not doing anything. Wow, they really want, okay, well. Alright, fine, let's do it. So, he was meant to ultimately break.
So you finally lost it, eh? Finally snapped. My neck. No denying it this time. You've got the mind of a killer. And that mind is mine. It's over, Bruce. You crossed the blood-red line. And now Scarecrow's going to set me free.
There's an element of this game's message that is correct, but there's also an element of it that's propaganda, because it's based on conditions. Whether or not it's true. Ah, yeah. Remember how many times we've had this scene? They even did this scene in, I think Suicide Squad, right? Yeah, that terrible dog water horse crap of a game. All right.
Batman, is that you? I'm sorry, Robin.
Are you ready?
This isn't going to end how you think, Crane.
Enough bravado. It's too late for that. I don't care who you are, but they will. I'm going to rob them of hope. As they stare into your eyes, they will blame you. Failure will have a face and a name. It's time. Mr. Gordon, I would like you to do the honors.
Never. I'm done taking orders from you. You bastard!
Take off that mask, or my next shot will kill him.
Bro, he has armor on, right?
It's okay. It's not okay. You know what this means. It's the end. When they find out who you are, there'll be no hiding. You need to trust me, Jim. Now.
You know, this wouldn't be an issue if you killed villains. Just saying.
Wayne. Bruce Wayne. Now the world can see you for what you truly are. A legend laid bare. Powerless. Human. Afraid.
Oh, that hurts. What the heck? Jeez, man.
What are we waiting for?
What
Let's
the?
get this done.
No. We need to do this right. He needs to face justice.
This son of a bitch killed 50 of our men. I say we finish him before he wakes up. He's too dangerous.
We've got 100 guns trained on him. He's going nowhere.
I love it.
Guys! It's great to see you. I've had a devil of a time tracking you down.
Tracking us down. We caught you.
Oh, Cobblepot. Always cruel, but never cunning. Croc, old boy, you might want to duck.
Ah, nice. It's not letting me use my bonuses. Interesting. My bonus attacks. Oh, those guys aren't even doing anything. The AI is not built for this, is it? I feel like this is just easier. Yeah. my gosh. Jeez.
So much more fun with my hands on the controls. Guys, where did you go?
What the heck was that?
Please! What did it take for you to stop?
What, can I just...
Please don't shoot!
All right, cobblers. Because you groveled so nicely.
Thank you.
Oh, so you can save them. What? What? What's that? What's that noise? That is weird. Okay. So you could blast them. Or... Ah, frick, I have to make a choice. Frick. Frick. See, I don't have a problem with taking out the villains. Oh, frick. But fine. We're not doing it. I guess I'm
Come here.
sparing.
No. Stop struggling. Get off me! You'll have to go through her to get to me. There still must be some things you won't do. Now put down the gun and back off!
Please, stop!
What the-
I mean it! Stay back!
Could shoot the gun, right? I just die.
I want you die! Damn you! Hey! Stay back or she dies!
Can't move past him, huh?
Drop the gun and back off!
Okay.
I'll kill you.
This is how it happened. This is how the Batman died.
Okay.
What are
Really?
we waiting for? Let's get this done.
I have to do all that again? Oh my god, let's just do this. Way easier this way. I'm just automating it at this point. Okay, I don't think that's... I don't know. Is that doing what I want it to? I have no idea. Let's just let everybody respawn on those other layers and then... A little bit loud.
So much more fun with my hands on the controls.
Well, I guess we have to shoot him, I guess,
Where
right?
did you go?
What is that noise? What?
Please! What did it take for you to stop?
I'm so confused.
Please don't shoot! Think of all we've been through!
I never could stand groveling, Cobblepot.
You, come here. No. Stop struggling.
Get off me!
You'll have to go through her to get to me. There's...
A hostage, Nigma. How very twee.
What does twee mean? What is that noise, bro? It's so weird.
I can't let you leave here alive. Not after what you've just done.
I'm the comeback king! The clown prince of chaos! The jester of genocide! You can't stop me.
What is that noise, bro? That is driving me nuts.
Stop. Stop this madness. Please.
Oh, wait. Wait, am I Batman? Doing this? You don't have a choice, right? Is there something I missed, bro? I have no idea.
This may be my finest work yet.
Please listen to me. After all the good you've done for the city, think about what you're doing. Sir, I'm begging you. Master Bruce, Batman, you have to listen. Think of your family, Bruce. Your father, what would he say if he saw you like this? Please, please stop this rampage.
Oh, Alfred, sweet, loyal Alfred. Master Bruce is gone. But don't you worry, your new master's coming home.
Do you know what happens now, Mr. Wayne? I'm not going to kill you.
Oh wait, so this is the bad ending.
I'm going to set you free. Free to see the city you swore to defend tear itself apart. Free to see everyone you love hunted down and killed. Every scream, every death. Vengeance for all that Batman has done.
Good.
What? Do you not understand? It is over.
Get ready for the encore.
Why aren't you scared?
Yo, that would hurt, man. My gosh. It's crazy. Freaking crazy.
Guess I'm toxin-proof. Hey, Bats! You still here?
My gosh.
Is that you? Oh, Bats!
Well. Man, this game is trippy in more ways than one, right? My gosh.
Good times.
Okay. So now we're playing Doom, I guess.
Woohoo! Crispy. Oh, I outgrew that body anyway. Trying to tell me something, Bats? I'm not dead. I've never been so alive. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't my grave. Oh, no, it's too small. It's all overgrown. Where's the head? It's, oh, right. I get it. They forgot about me. Very funny, Bats. But it's not gonna happen. You know, some jokes can be in bad taste.
Oh, frickin' A. What's up, girl? You must be Batman or something.
See, old boy, you want the death of me? Harley? You call this a wake? Where is it? I know what you're trying to do, Bats. You and your toxin.
Why'd it cut him
You
off?
think this scares me? Harley, stop your sobbing and rustle me up awake.
What's a wake?
Harley! Harley!
Oh yeah, by the way, this is Harley Quinn. She's crying because he's dead. She's sobbing. She's not over him. Yeah, remember that Harley Quinn? Yeah. Yeah.
In Gotham with me, Vicky Vale.
And me, Glenn Woodburn.
So, Glenn, today marks the 1-year anniversary of the Joker's death. Any thoughts on the occasion?
Sorry, who?
The Joker, you remember?
The question mark guy. He's dead?
No, not him.
Sorry, Vic, you gotta help me out.
You know what? It doesn't matter. Let's forget about him and move on.
Yes, let's forget about him and move on.
In other news, a museum dedicated to Batman and his arch-nemesis, the Penguin, opened on Bleak Island today.
Oh, you think that's scary, Bats? When I get out of here, I'll write my name in blood on every street corner. I'll carve it on every corpse. I'll... No one's forgetting me! No. How do I get out of here?
You know, it is kind of interesting.
Where are you?
Here's the thing though about Joker is that they're trying to paint him as a narcissist, which his character is not. Yeah, listen, I don't. This is the issue with the comics. You know what? This is the issue with the comics is that it's so extensive and they kind of rewrite characters so many times, and now it's gone woke. So I'm sure that woke comic book writers wanted him to be a narcissist, but in the previous 2 games, he was never a narcissist. I mean, yeah, he was the top dog of everyone else, but he was never full of himself. He just liked chaos. He just likes instrumenting chaos. He likes making these grand designs of some kind of maniacism. So in this game, they're trying to land the idea that he's a narcissist. And that's his greatest fear, is that no one remembers or cares about him once he's gone and dead. I would kind of say that that's more of a Riddler. Yeah, I would say it's more of a Riddler kind of character mindset. Maybe Penguin as well. Kind of on Penguin. It's more of a Riddler mindset, though, that they're applying to Joker, even though the two of them do have a lot of similarities. They didn't build this up in the previous 2 games. Joker's just crazy. And he likes putting on a show with his crazy designs, right? With his maniacal designs, putting on a show for the world to see his maniacal schemes and conventions. But not exactly a narcissist. However, and And again, I hate this concept of narcissists and how we have to always push this onto especially male characters. But here's the angle I do understand, right? That he is a showsman. And everything that he's ever done was to put on a crazy show for society and, of course, Batman, who's kind of his pet guinea pig. So that makes sense. And the world not remembering his kind of showsmanship, the crazy conventions that he's putting on for the world, and him caring about it, right? That let's say that the opulence of all his crazy designs not being remembered, and how his maniacal impact that he's trying to have on the world, how it's not being remembered. I can see that driving him nuts. That the showsman and all of his performances isn't lasting with its impact. That makes sense. But him being a narcissist, I think that's definitely a stretch, because he can be a showsman, a maniacal showsman, but not be a narcissist. And it feels like they're trying to go into narcissism on Joker. So maybe they're going for showsman here. Maybe they're not going for narcissist, but we know that what they did after this game, right? We have Killer Shark calls Joker a maladaptive narcissist. I don't like how they try to, again, these characters are no longer conceptual, they're now medical. I hate this. I hate modernity for this one. Sorry. I hate what modernity tries to do to our characters through this lens. But it works fine enough for this game.
Show your face!
And it is unique, the way that they're trying to go at this, and how Joker's mindset, how specifically this is what you could say Joker fears the most, is being forgotten. Or rather, not being forgotten, but that all of his showmanship didn't leave a legacy.
Bats!
Oh dear God! He's everywhere. I'm pretty sure that, oh, yep.
So long, Bats! Hell of a ride, but I'm getting off! Oh, you know, you almost had me scared back there. Me? What have I got to be afraid of?
You're afraid of being ashes. You're afraid of being forgotten. And you will be forgotten, Joker. Because of me.
Oh, frick, son.
I am vengeance. I am the Knight. I am Batman.
Oh, I remember that. There's a guy who made a video of a little cartoon where Batman says that line, "I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman." And that was in response to Suicide Squad, right, where they kill Batman in that game in the most horrific manner possible. But they in that cartoon, he utilizes moves from these games to beat up all the Suicide Squad cast members. So now I understand why they put that line into that little cartoon. And yeah, by the way, that little cartoon, even though it's a really shoddy animation, it's way better than whatever the frick we got. Yeah, I mean, like, Batman really should have just wrecked all of them in the way that he did in that cartoon. Okay. Alright, am I supposed to throw him in here? Oh, I see.
No, Max, wait! No, please! No!
Goodbye, Joker.
No, Bruce! Don't leave me! Please! I need you.
Do you understand, Gotham? You have no savior. No more hope. No more Batman. I've won.
I'm not afraid, Crane.
Impossible. Without fear, life is meaningless. No.
What's wrong? Scared?
No.
Get him. No.
Fatality.
He's strong. He's going to be okay.
Look after him, Jim. Look after them all. You've been a good friend. The best I could ask for. You were there at the beginning. And now, you get to see how it ends.
Best gift you've brought us all night.
I can't believe he showed up.
So Bruce Wayne, huh? If it's all the same to you, I'll stick to Batman.
They're coming for me. No! No!
You sound scared, Crane. Get used to it.
Sir, it's over. The whole world knows. What now?
Gotham still needs Batman. For one last night.
And then?
Prepare the Nightfall Protocol.
Are you sure?
There's no other way, Alfred.
It needs voice confirmation.
Martha.
Very good, Master Bruce. You can be sure your instructions will be followed.
Hold on a minute. Well, by the way, right there, that's the end of the game's story. Obviously, we get the final cutscene once I have taken care of all the other side quests for all the other villains. Wait, what? I didn't get that? Oh. The new story plus. Got it. Yeah, wow, that was a little bit loud. Anyway, I don't think, yeah, you know, I can see myself playing like a couple more of the missions, but I don't really want to go through all of that, if I'm being honest. I just want to play the main game. So, that right there is the game. Of course, we're going to play a little bit more, but that is, I mean, that's technically the end of the playthrough, right? The true ending just takes a little bit to get to, but obviously, at the end of all this, Batman blows up Wayne Manor, and everyone thinks that he's in there, blown up with his house, I guess his mansion, his house. So, and that's how it ends, and it's a really good ending for this game, for the entire character of Batman. Fighting out with his demons like he has in this story leaves a pretty profound. This game, okay, here's the thing with this game's story. This is far heavier on themes than it is the characters. Now, the characters matter, but the themes are so much more important, right? The theme of fear, the themes of legacy, your bonds, your family, your friends, all that, what you sacrifice. The themes of this game are much more pronounced and much stronger. Now, that was kind of lame, though. That's the only time we see Jason Todd, right? So, that being the only time we really see him again in the story is when he shoots the pistol out of, or no, wait, it was a pistol, right? Yeah, out of Scarecrow's hand. It's a little bit unfortunate we don't get to see a lot more of him. Oh my gosh, freaking shut up, bro. I'm freaking trying to talk. Oh my gosh. All right, you know what? I'm going over here. I don't want to hear anyone speak. Oh my god. The whole idea of battling your demons with this story, that's also a huge theme, and it matters, you know? It's pretty important. I will say, though, this is a very existential story. Existential kind of purpose to the game, right? Who Batman is, Joker is. It is a little bit depressing seeing that Joker's dead. And of course, Harley is mourning his death. Obviously, no one's showing up to his funeral. Although I would swear that there are some people that would show up to his funeral. But yeah, I mean, he is the Prince of Chaos, so you can't really expect that really almost anybody's showing up to that funeral at the same time. Let's be honest. So there would be a couple of people there because he has a bunch of, right, organization contacts. A bunch of people would be there. Maybe as a networking event, honestly, but you know, it's very mortific, I guess is what you could call it. It's very mortific, that scene, and kind of makes you freak out personally. I mean, let's just be honest, dude. This is kind of the thing that I said in the Strangers of Paradise review, sorry. I mean, semi-review, right? Because I was sharing a lot of my thoughts as I was playing the game, but when I was playing the game and I was getting around towards the ending of the story, I was talking about the whole essence of life and death, and it really does freak you out a good little bit. The whole concepts of dying and being dead, it really does freak you out. And seeing them simulating to you the aftermath of Joker being dead, which is, you know, Gotham continues going on. Yeah, Joker's dead. Harley's crying, right? Just seeing the aftermath of Joker being dead and seeing his body being cremated, it really does highlight the kind of, I would honestly say, the horrific end to life. It really does. Just seeing stuff like that, it does hit you deep, and it is kind of overwhelming to think of that in all of your memories and in everything that you've experienced, everything that you've lived, everything that you've done, that all of it just basically, it's only everything that you are the vessel thereof becomes cremated in the end. I mean, that's the idea. You can also, all the other ways that you can die. I mean, I guess really the best way to go out is be cast off in a boat and have a flaming arrow set you on fire. I think that might be better. Viking funeral fashion, but anyway. I mean, you know, it is on it gets to you. I'm just gonna say it, you know, it's pretty horrific just seeing the simplicity of death and how simplistic death really is, and how much everything can just be washed away by such a simplistic, let's just say, funeral, you know? There's definitely a horrific element to that. It's definitely a depressing idea. Now, of course, when you consider these things outside of the realm of spirituality, through the lens of materialism. And that's why I say, like, this story in its own essence is very nihilistic, materialistic in its own sense. It's a very grim tone. There really isn't much of a concept of God in this game. I mean, more than any other modern game. But God is definitely in the background of this story. Even though there are people who believe in God throughout this story, you know, I think even Batman himself, still, the themes and the ideas and the tone and the nature of this story is very nihilistic. It's godless in a lot of ways, you know, and ultimately everyone's kind of living and dying without an exact spiritual or existential purpose, a true existential purpose, because existentialism really should and does come down to spiritualism. What's the point of existence without, right, some life beyond death? Let's just be honest. So it doesn't mean anything to the observer or the thinker. Whatever you matter past your death, because you don't mean anything in death. So really, existentialism is inherently a spiritualist concept, and the only way existentialism can ever be a concept for atheists is nihilism. And that's, you know, that's kind of the the fear of Joker, right, being forgotten is very nihilistic. And of course, that's the reality of atheism and a world without God, is that, yeah, you don't matter past your death. I mean, and the truth is, no matter what good or bad you've done, it'll be washed away. So Joker and everything he's done, yeah, people are going to remember him. People are going to talk about him. And he's going to be, let's say, written in history books in the world of Arkham, in the world of Batman. But fundamentally, Joker will also be forgotten, right, in a couple of years, despite being in the history books for his role in everything that he's done and everything that he, you know, all of his maniacal ends that he achieved. But then you think about a character like Batman, and yeah, Batman would definitely end up in history books for sure. And be remembered, not the word notorious, but yes, he would be famous for all of time in history, just given the man that he is. But that would be completely aside from the point of whether or not he killed villains, by the way. If he killed criminals, he would still be remembered, you know. But really what it is, it's a mirror of the zeitgeist of a liberal society making a character like Batman and displaying its ethics through a character like Batman. So right, like Batman, we're making the presumption that if he killed any of these criminals, he wouldn't be remembered, right? He would just be infamous now, and he would be regarded as all the villains. But for one, there's plenty of villains who end up being infamous throughout history, or air quotes on villains. There's plenty of men who are good in their day and age of civilization, and they're remembered throughout history, and they were not afraid to kill in the name of their principles and their values. You know, to fight in name of their principles and their values. So it is a modern day egalitarian liberal concept to act like, in any sense of the matter, that right, that killing a foe makes you automatically evil. You're going to be scorned throughout history, and no one's going to remember you, and nobody wants to remember you. That's not true. Again, there's many elements in how your impact throughout history, how it's going to matter. How your, after your death, whatever lasting remnant of your memory is left on the world, that is completely, honestly, aside from the part of how liberal or egalitarian you are, or how pro-social or anti-social you are, there's plenty of great men who are a mixture of pro-social, anti-social, right? Who were liberal, who were not liberal. It's all across the board. And some of the most impactful men, especially good men throughout history, they were willing to kill in the name of their beliefs and their values. I mean, this, and again, this is the issue with, it's such propaganda, though, to believe that you should never kill a villain. You should never kill a bad guy. You know, once you've committed these kinds of criminal actions, you really are not worthy of being saved in any way whatsoever. Right? Because what you're trying to do, you're trying to create the desecration of a stable society. So, right, like when you've got these serial killers kind of characters, and they resemble things from, you know, real life, but all they deserve is the death penalty. That's all they deserve. You know, these villains, they don't deserve mercy or the idea of reform. And by the way, mega villains, you can't reform them. That is a misnomer to believe that they can be reformed. So, again, the issue with the idea of this game is that you can reform these mega maniac villains, or that you shouldn't kill them. What? Again, these guys are bad dudes, man. And that's the truth of it all. I mean, there's things worth going to war for, and there are there are legitimate antagonists, you know, in the real world. So the fact that we moralize so heavily the essence of life and death delivered by an individual, let's say a vigilante in terms of Batman, it's silly. You have to look at it through a pragmatic lens. There are legit dudes, people that are worth getting rid of. And there's legit groups worth going to war against. Because what they stand for is inconducive towards what you believe in or what you, the world, the society that you would fight for. You know, again, and think about something like America, or sorry, well, yeah, okay, anyways. Americans against the British in establishing the United States of America. America was determined as a superior civilization to Britain in the course of history. But we had to go to war in order to exact for ourselves a nation, set and put aside, apart from Britain. And from their ethics, their values, their philosophies, their principles, also France, also anything of the Eastern European Union. I could have just said the European Union. Anyway. The Eastern European, anyway, love of God. Anyway. Well, I mean, technically, yes, Americans are Western Europeans, and nowadays we're doing everything in our power to make it not that way. But anyways, that's aside from the point. You know, there are plenty of men, though, that throughout history, they fought for their values and their ideals and their beliefs. And there are plenty of judgments that are very deserving that were dealt onto criminals. This is liberal propaganda, though, to believe that there's never a good reason, right, to go to war. There's never a good reason to deliver the death penalty, one way or another, to a villain, to a thug, to a criminal. Instead, you need to tax the working population to service criminals in an asylum, in a prison. So you are diminishing the quality of life for people who are abiding by not ridiculous authoritarian laws, just basic laws of human civilization and society, right? You know, really, the 10 Commandments: don't murder, don't cheat, don't steal, all these things. To basically follow the 10 Commandments, and you're going to tax those people to provide for, through the government, for maniacs in the asylum, criminals in the asylum, criminals in prisons. I mean, it's a ridiculous notion that you are diminishing your own quality of life through your labor, so that your money can provide for actual deplorables of civilization. You know, they broke the fundamental tenets and laws of civilization. They've committed actions of great instability. And we know throughout history that these are actions of great instability. This is objective. And there's no such concept of the death penalty delivered by a vigilante or some kind of organizational force, disciplinary force of some kind. Yeah, so yeah, anyways, that idea doesn't work. It is absolute propaganda. I'm sick and tired of the propaganda, because when you see a society full of criminals, you start asking yourself, and we have prisons for these guys? We tolerate these guys? No, absolutely not. So anyway, it's just that you can't live with yourself for doing what is necessary, because you're a coward, is really what it is. And that is what liberal ethics ultimately is. It's accommodation ethics, but also coward ethics. If you really want a safe society, right? Death penalty to the criminals. It's that simple. But here we are, right? We have these stories and we have these characters that do service for propaganda. I don't know. I don't think Batman was always about the no-kill rule. They brought that about when? I forget when they brought that about, but it wasn't always his character. I don't think it was most superheroes' characters. They brought it in, though, around the time that America was liberalizing more and more. I'm forgetting the time frame, though, on that one. I don't know. I had a better idea of that a little while back, but now I'm forgetting the time frame where you notice that change in ethics and philosophy. So, anyway, it does freak you out, though. Just the idea, right, of Joker. Again, I think is a little bit uncharacteristic of Joker to fear his own death. I get what they were going for with that, but really, for Joker to fear his own death, he's the archetype of chaos. He lives an existence where he's always on the borderlines of death, and he invites death. He gets off on the idea, right? That's a part of his maniacal nature, is that he's not afraid of death. So I get what they were trying to service with that idea, and I'm mostly okay with it, but that really wasn't his character in the previous two games. He wasn't afraid about the idea of dying. He just enjoys chaos, and he'll enjoy chaos for as long as he lives until he dies, one way or another, right? That is Joker's character, but in this game they decided to go against that, and they decided to act like he's a narcissist, I guess, that is upset, or sorry, that fears his own becoming of irrelevancy or forgettability, which, no. Again, that you look at the Joker of the previous two games, that's not in line with his archetype, his character. That's what Riddler would think like, you know. But I can also, at the same time, I can judge this game by what it provides and what it offers and what it shows to us here. And I do understand what they're trying to say through the idea that the fear of Joker and the death of Joker is ultimately for a maniacal showsman like him to be forgotten. That is his greatest fear. And again, it is some of the most horrific imagery, though, to just think about all the opulence to a character like Joker, all the infamy to a character like Joker, and then it all ends with death, right? And being tucked away to ashes. It's a pretty freaky concept, you know, just the whole concept and premise of existentialism and the ultimatum of death. It really is a freaky idea, but that's where, like, you know, and that's the problem with some liberal ethics. Is like, that's kind of where, like, sometimes really, right? Like, arguably for most men's lives, death is not always like, it's not always villainous the way that this occurs. This is just amoral here, that we're looking at this through the lens thereof. But most men's lives is actually better spent dying early and dying in a blaze of glory than watching yourself willow away, you know? In some sense, you know, you agonizing over the end of your existence, sometimes it's better, right, to be a soldier on the lines of war, taking the utmost risk and seeing yourself sacrifice yourself for some kind of greater cause, fighting for something beyond yourself, right? And maybe that brings about an earlier end, right? Or being like a vigilante like Batman and putting yourself on the risk of the front lines of civil battle, right? Batman fighting internal chaos within civilization, crime, putting your own life at risk and possibly dying an early death by method of glory, right? rather than just wallowing away in any one way or another, right? And growing to be ashamed of yourself. And this is just as a concept. It doesn't always end up like this. It's just as conceptually speaking. Conceptually speaking, there's plenty of men who can live a far more fulfilling life, testing the boundaries of their own existence, constantly testing the borders of life and death through risk taking, rather than being safe and rather than just doing things the air quotes, right, the acceptable way, the pro-social way. Maybe just taking risks and doing crazy stunts and doing crazy stuff all over the place. And maybe you die at the age of 35. But you have experienced so many more odds, risks, and you've overcame so many more hurdles than most men. What was his name? Knievel Knievel or whatever, right? Being some kind of crazy stuntsman and doing crazy stuff, or Bear Grylls, right? Like just to name random names that you might know of men they've risked their lives doing the things that they've done. Depending on how much of it was truly a risk or not, or whatever. You have men, though, who are very comfortable with the idea of death, and they live their life to the fullest, and they don't try to extend out their life, right? They embrace the reality of death rather than embracing the eventuality of death. And for those men, a good number of them, they end up living a more fulfilling life, sometimes doing that. And they die pretty much before they can really loathe their own existence. You really got to think about that. That kind of essence. And that is ultimately the archetype of Joker. But I do understand what the purpose of this story was about, right? Which is just the fact that for Joker as a showsman, there's nothing more that he could, right? This is a pathway that you could go down. Again, he could be displayed in a different way, but the way that they chose to express him in this game is that there's nothing more for his kind of character to fear than to be forgotten. And everything that he lived for and all of his infamy, that it all be tucked away and not even put into, let's say, history books or whatever. He would end up in history, by the way, Joker, but anyway. The idea, though, of your own irrelevancy and that the world no longer hears your voice, no longer calls your name. Again, that's not the way they had to do it, but since they did it that way, I can see what they were going for. And it does hit you and land with you for exactly what it was intended to do. So, I kind of see the morose and all of it. And it definitely was executed well. Really depressing, though, when you think about that, but there's different ways to look at it. And again, this is why I really miss spiritual storylines. Because despite what you do, right, you can have a character that's on this giant crusade, and ultimately, at the end of the story, he does die. But when he dies, he went on a giant crusade, slaughtering through the foes that opposed him. Maybe you can think of like a Conan the Barbarian kind of archetype of character, whatever. But he does it all in name of, let's say, of a god. His god. Or, in the Anglo-Saxon frame of mind, the god. But we're just thinking of like fiction right now. A man who fights, though, in the name of God. and not afraid to kill in the name of the principle of God. You know, basically slaying through real life demons, that kind of thing. And preserving society by what you're willing to fight for. There's a lot of ways that you can play with all these concepts and all these variables. It doesn't always have to be like, oh, you know, you're irredeemable, or you're what? Irredeemable, you are befouled if you don't operate and exist in a liberal manner. And by the way, in the world of modernity, we have seen plenty of how much liberal ethics and philosophy does not serve. So that's my issue with this game, is that its entire story is worked to instrument against you, or well, it instruments its own self to convince you, rather, of liberal ethics and ideals. But these are some of the most unproven and also disproven ethics and ideals throughout history. Throughout history. Not even just modernity. Because this has shown up before throughout history. So. And we're also assuming that the liberal method of thinking is correct. Because ultimately there's a lot of angles and elements of liberal thinking, but part of it is materialism. And there's a certain element that must be applied when you think of things through a different element than materialism. A different variable than materialism, where, for one, you're assuming that there is no life after death. And that then there is no value, right, in an afterlife. And that there is no such thing, by the way, as good and evil. And therefore you shouldn't, right, deliver the death penalty on a criminal, because that would make you evil. Even though we know very clearly through spiritual standards that there is a discernment in all of this. I hate modernity. I hate liberalism, bro. I hate egalitarianism. I hate all this freaking crap. Because what it's wiring you to believe is that there are no convictions that are worth fighting for and standing for. Which means what? Compliance. You have to just simply comply. And also compromise. You also have to simply compromise yourself in your ethics and your ideals so that you kumbaya, hold hands with your enemy who works to either betray you, who works to undermine you, or in some way, right, they wish to bring about a world that is weaponized against your ethics and your ideals. And it brings about a worse world. A world of greater instability, yeah. A world of greater instability. There are things worthy of fighting for, and when you look all throughout history, the safest, the most prosperous of civilizations, they fought for their beliefs. And they were not afraid to kill in the name of their ideals. And we always act like that when you're willing to utilize the blade for your ethics, that you've lost it, that you are lost, or that you are, again, right, you are befouled, or you have become like a demon because you're willing to fight for what you believe in. But some of the most prosperous, enlightened civilizations, they were afforded their existence and they were brought to fruition by the willingness to go to war for your philosophy, or not, maybe not philosophy, but also your ethics and your ideals, your virtues. So many assumptions in all this, that there is a kumbaya state that can actually be achieved. It's never been proven throughout history. And we're also lying upon the premise, the notion that all ethics can somehow safely or even realistically abide by one another, and that when, of course, it doesn't work out and they don't abide by one another, that somehow, if you just keep on beating over the head the idea that they can or will, that eventually you can just ignore their dissynchronicity with each other until your idea goes into fruition. Your idea that all ethics can live amongst one another. And ultimately what happens is that when you try to accommodate all ethics, you will ultimately sacrifice your own ethics. When you try to accommodate all ethics, you will sacrifice all ethics. You reach a point of androgyny with your own virtues and ideals. There's nothing worth fighting for anymore because everything now exists. Or must exist. It's a state of androgyny. So anyway. Yes, there's absolutely a problem with that. Batman's entire inner demons, though, seems to be, right, the chaos of Joker, the brutality of Joker. And a character like him. And so that's kind of what Batman's at war with. And that's him resolving his own demons, was him resolving the persona of Joker within himself. Which is not really, by the way, it's not really well explored in these games. It really isn't. Exactly what is the dichotomy of Joker and Batman. But honestly, I don't think they did a good job on that. Because I could make up my own preface of their dichotomy, but it isn't. It's not what's being provided here. I would have to do the writing for the writers. I don't like that. Let's think about it though. So, ultimately, Batman's inner demons is the beast, is the archetype of the savage man within himself. Oh my god, my issue with all this is that this is just pure... Dude, this is propaganda. That's my issue with it. Even if I said it though, right? What the point of the story is, it's false in its premise. But okay, let's just say it. He shouldn't be doing this. This is not the resolution to be made, but Batman is basically resolving the inner barbarism, the inner barbaric nature of the archetype of a man like Joker that is within himself, that allows himself to be the man that fights crime. Because Batman is the character, he is the synergy of both the gentleman and the beast. Of both the brutal man and the sophisticated man. This story, however, is about how he is resolving the brutal man, the beast-like man, in favor of the civilized man. And there's a lot of issues with that. I certainly do not like the way that they resolve his character, which is that you have to relinquish, or you have to sacrifice, or that let's just leave it at that. That in some way you must rid yourself of the savage man, of the brutal man, of the beast-like man. That somehow that's a way that you have to resolve yourself, your humanity. So that you cannot be controlled, let's say, by your villains, or that there's multiple layers going on in all of this. That's the other issue too. Because ultimately Batman does retire. And maybe you could say that that's partially the resolution, but also the ultimatum made by Batman as his resolution is the fact that there is no true synergy between the beast archetype and the gentleman. And eventually there just comes a day where you have to walk away from everything that you've had to do, right? And so Batman has to retire. Yeah, I don't believe in that at all. There's too many reasons to say that that is false. That is not the proper resolution to Batman. Because there could just be here's one of the resolutions that can happen for Batman is that he fights criminals long enough that they're all off the streets. Or most of them are off the streets. That civilization is mostly safe because of Batman. And if they started enacting the death penalty, then you would be a lot safer. That could be a conclusion. And it could be that there comes a point where Batman becomes kind of a king of Gotham after years of crime fighting and securing peace and stability for the city. Now he's investing into the city to help drive innovation, prosperity, economical development. You know, there's other ways to resolve his character. But I think this is one of those things where in fiction, there's kind of a rule that a lot of storytellers like to go with. And I think this is a very terrible rule, a very lazy rule, which is that the story never ends. Which means that the conflict can never truly end. There has to be a psychopath. There has to be no resolution. The hero is basically helpless in his pursuit against villainy. But for some reason, no matter what he does, eventually villains are just going to have to continue, and his story is going to have to continue either after his death or whatever, right? So if it's not Batman anymore, it's a new Batman, or it's Robin, right? Robin takes over as new Batman, something like that. That's the issue with all this, is that they're telling you a story that has a philosophical element and a philosophical purpose, but ultimately in the end, it's only meant to really portray one thing, if we're being honest. And that is that there should be no resolution to what these characters are doing. And that the hero, everything he fights for, well, we need to have an excuse for another product. So we're going to continuate the story past. So there's no nirvana. There's no Valhalla. There's no heaven. There's no resolution. There's no, right? Everything that you've done doesn't actually mean anything because the story must continue. The show must go on. So we end up in a place where we do have some very we are displaying many pseudo virtues and pseudo ideals. These are not real ideals because there's no completion state for any of this. You're just seeing a story that is selling you that the conflict must persist. And that is also another element of propaganda, because that's in a lot of storytelling, is that there should be no resolution between order and chaos. It's only a cycle, and it should only be a cycle. Well, again, that's philosophical and political cowardice. There's absolutely something you can do about chaos. There's such a way to organize yourself and civilization where either you bring up crime rates or you bring them down, okay? People want to exist within a low crime state. And we can go into the the philosophical essence of what is crime and what does it conceptually represent, right? And of course, in some ways, it's instability, it's many things, but not only instability, right? It's the arrival of malicious purpose, intent by exploitative actors, you could say, in some essence of the matter. Again, there's much more that can go into this, but to believe that the cycle must continue and that there is no true resolution for the cycle, you also then believe that exploitative actors that bring about instability and tragedy upon civilization, you also believe that then they should also be given a reason to exist. Truly, that's what you believe in. And that's the issue. You don't have any... You don't have true ethics. You don't stand for anything. You don't have any convictions. You support a reality where there is no proper grasping or fruition of good versus evil, and ultimately the pursuit against evil and the victory or the triumphant victory, right, of good over evil. You don't believe that good should ever step above or beyond evil. But of course, when you look at these liberal writers and you look at liberal storytellers, they don't believe that evil should be vanquished. They believe that evil, well, for one, they believe in evil. That's first and foremost. Just look at their beliefs and their principles. And the more that you put them under threat is the more that they try to appeal to subjectivity, saying that, well, you know, you have your way and I have my way, and, you know, that crappy piece of trash over there, they have their way. They try to throw it up and toss it up to subjectivity, which again creates a coward's world where no one fights for their convictions. And that means when exploitative actors arise in the world, you can't do anything about it because then you would be at ethical compromise. And that's the issue. This is the issue with egalitarian ethics, philosophy, politics, whatever. Is that you believe that there's nothing that is morally righteous enough to fight for, so therefore you must do nothing. And you must allow those who are most willing to do anything or most willing to exploit you, they end up being the actors. Of course, we're seeing that now in modern civilization. Look at how little anybody stands for any kind of convictions, and look at how much they're taxed out of the freaking anus, right? For like criminals, of course, in prisons, because apparently there's something wrong with death penalty or whatever, or some kind of punishment, a very prolonged punishment for committing certain acts. And then you look at, you look at the, what's the best way of putting this? You look at the bureaucratic collection, and basically you believe that they have the right to exploit you, your labor, and take your economical labor as their governmental tithing. You can't fight for anything, you can't believe in anything so much that you allow at the governmental level, at the criminal level, and there's many layers on that one, not just prisons and getting taxed out to service the prisons, all that. But you believe in all these ways, more ways than one, that you have to accommodate those who exploit you the most. And there's other layers to this too, outside of all that. But yeah, there's other layers to all of this. But let's just get back down to the point, though, of saying all this is that you end up not fighting for a far more stable regime or far more stable set of governance when you have no convictions that you believe are righteous enough to fight for. And by the way, morality really doesn't have that much to do with it. One of the issues also with modernity and egalitarianism is over-moralizing everything. At some point, these topics and these issues are amoral, and you fighting for what you fight for is a matter of practicality and pragmatism. It's fighting for a far more efficient system than what you're left with or what you are abiding by, right? What you were told to accommodate while you are being actively exploited. And again, this matters right now for the modern world. Of course, there's many times that this has mattered throughout history. But just look at the fact that America, the greatest civilization to ever exist, of course, now that's all being ruined. But we understand, though, historically, that America, right now, has been the greatest civilization to ever exist on the face... Well, okay. On the face of the earth, or specifically modern recorded human history. We had to go to war through the founding fathers, through rebellion. We had to believe in our philosophies and our principles enough to go to war against our previous fellow countrymen so that we could procure a future civilization that was worth living in with greater and far more robust systems, methods of governance, ethics, philosophy. And ultimately, America proved itself in more ways than one, legally, economically. You can go down the list. Culturally was a big one for a while. Now, of course, we're seeing the fall of Rome, so all of that has been dashed away. But ultimately, the greatness of America was procured by men who are willing to fight for their values and their beliefs. They were willing to bleed and to, of course, deliver bleeding for the sake of their principles and their philosophies. And ultimately, they proved that they had better ideas than Britain. To the point that even modern Britain, modern England, has curtailed many of its ethics and philosophies to be more Americanized. Of course, now again, America is the fall of Rome today, and the Western Anglo-Saxon mind is under great assault. It no longer exists like it once did, so that ideal is quickly degenerating. But outside of all that happening, it was through these past men fighting for their ideals and their beliefs. They proved that they were the superior. But that had to be necessitated by going to war, ultimately. In fighting against a direct foe. And now we have these stories that try to tell us that the opposite is true, even though that is never true throughout history. If you believe in the way, if you look at the world in such a way, as this game is telling you how to think, and many stories, many modern stories, right? The whole idea that like a Jedi never kills. Okay, come on, man. Okay, so the Sith are just going to keep on coming back. They're going to keep on killing your other Jedi. They're going to keep on dominating the world with their empire, which is different from your ethics. You're just continuating the conflict by saying that it is unethical to kill the villain. Both sides must slay each other if one or the other ethics are ever going to take place. So anyways, I think that's enough on all that, okay? I think the point's pretty clear. It's just not, it's not pragmatic. And we're moralizing a topic that for many past generations was amoral. And it's not that there's nothing that you can moralize about it or philosophically question and explore about it, but nowadays we over moralize everything. Even when we are in the right, we gaslight ourselves, treating it, the conversation, ourselves, whatever, as if we or the conversation, the topic, is in the wrong. You can never procure good if you're too afraid to fight for what is good. And to fight for something, you know, is to risk life and limb for it. So again, it's coward ethics, coward philosophies. And what it is that you see, really, like, what does it resemble about society is that modern civilization and modern people, let's say, the ethics is to fear conflict, is to fear war. Do not fight for what you believe in. Because, right, there's something ethically wrong with you if you do fight for anything. You are ethically or morally compromised. But then in turn, what does that mean? You will be existentially and ideologically then enslaved or compromised by a more exploitative party. That is what will happen if you are not willing to fight for what you believe in. And fighting for things is not kumbaya. And fighting for things is not Gandhi. You're not a freaking Buddhist. And fighting for things does not look like compromising yourself, sacrificing yourself. There's a point where you have to legitimately fight for what you truly believe in and know to be best or better than your rival. Anyways, I think all that I just said, I think it speaks for itself. And that's kind of one of my huge criticisms with this story, is that to be a good guy is apparently you have to unrealistically fight your enemy in such a way where you never actually defeat your enemy. Your enemy will constantly come back to life, you know, figuratively speaking, or your enemy will constantly reappear somehow, some way, right? That anyways, that the conflict must persist, okay? As simple as that. That you can never do anything to bring the conflict to an end. And again, when you have those kinds of ethics, yeah, you create a civilization that isn't safe. Where you are tolerating criminals, where you are tolerating legitimate corrosion within your civilization. And again, we've seen this in the modern landscape. How simple does it have to be, dude? We've seen this time and time again throughout history, but let's just say within America. The tougher you are on crime, the more willing you are to be brutal upon criminals, the less crime you will experience. The more lenient you become on crime, the more tolerant you become, the more accommodating you become, the more crime there is. It's very simple. And we've seen this for many generations now. But we keep on flagellating ourselves forever even standing by our convictions and being brutal with the criminal or the villainous mind. It's ridiculous, dude. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how we constantly gaslight these ethics. Alright, so anyways, I think those are pretty much my thoughts. Again, you know, everything that went on with, and of course, Scarecrow. His whole thing is that he wants Batman to experience fear. and he knows that fear is inevitable and it is a part of you being human. You fear something, and that gives you your modus operandi for whatever it is that you're pursuing in your life, right? Batman's convictions are based upon his fears of criminality and the brutality of it, right? And is his cape a little bit torn up? I can't tell. And it's when Batman overcomes his fears. I think it's a little bit hammed up, if I'm being honest, just a tad bit. And I have to think about it a little bit more. Does it all line up? I don't really think it does, but like, you can give it benefit of the doubt because the game is written well enough that yes, right? Batman overcomes his fears. And that is really for Scarecrow, that's his greatest fear, is not to be feared. And for his greatest foe, being Batman, not to fear him, that is his greatest fear. Is that his rival does not fear him. Because then, therefore, he has no power over Batman. If Batman has no fear. And Batman's only fear is brutality, right? Basically the essence and the archetype of Joker. The essence of the maniacal, brutal man. Batman fears that. And so that's so weird though, because he doesn't truly resolve that. It's so weird though, because I guess in some ways, I guess the death of Joker was him dying. Wow. Actually, yeah. Joker dying brought about his insignificance. Through his death, he became forgotten. Because now new villains, right, they rise up, and now they become the concern and fear of Gotham. So in a weird way, because again, what happens when Batman finally snaps? Trying to think about it. Yeah, right? When is it that you snap Joker's neck? I'm kind of forgetting right now. But anyways, let's just go with it. The chronology of it all. When Batman finally snaps Joker's neck, though, that does fundamentally resolve his inability to properly address Joker. He embraces that brutality against the villain, against the criminal, the mega mind criminal archetype. And then later, when Joker's archetype is released, right within Batman's mind, he kills Penguin, Riddler, and Two-Face. Then Batman locks him away, right, in that cell. Whatever the heck that cell is supposed to resemble. Whatever that cell really was. I don't know what kind of cell that was, but anyways, whatever. In a weird way for Batman, that I guess does resolve through him snapping in his mind. But the problem is that it's only in his mind. Batman himself never snaps. But I guess within Batman, he resolved his own fear of the willingness to kill a criminal. And in killing the criminal, he was able to tuck away the archetype of the criminal into a jail cell. So he finally resolved what he was never willing to do, and up in his own head was the willingness to be so brutal as to kill a villain. And when he does that, he's able to tuck away his fear of the villain away in his mind. in the duality of it all too, Batman is also just resolving the fact that he was kind of the essence of Joker's death, and therefore Joker's irrelevance, right? Because he took away Joker's life. Joker no longer can instrument his designs upon Gotham. So in some way, it's just Batman resolving the loss of Joker, I guess. The death of that maniacal mind and the archetype of it. But again, at the same time, like, okay, even if it's just directly Joker that we're thinking about and talking about here, Batman is still also resolving through killing Joker, right? When his mind snaps, he is still having that resolution take place where Joker is now, in his mind, he's willing to kill a criminal like Joker. And now that is his resolution, and he's able to now tuck away Joker because he's kind of released, or unleashed rather, the brutality of the psyche of Joker within his own mind. He's able to then tuck away and properly place within a jail cell, so contain the brutality of Joker. It's kind of the idea of what's going on there. There's a lot of ways where that doesn't work because he still has the T virus. It's supposed to possess him, but I guess because Batman mindset gurus himself enough, I guess he resolves Joker. But you know what? I'll just take it for what it is, and I can appreciate it for what it is. The problem with it is that it's so vague. You can place a lot of things onto it. But if we're really just blatant and objective about it, Batman is broken so far by Joker possessing his mind that he gets to the point where he's finally willing to unlock the brutality to break himself within the psyche of the brutal man, to snap Joker's neck. And that unleashes the full extent of his beast-like mind that is set apart from the gentleman. And in doing that, right, the unleashing of that mentality is the fact that Joker then blasts away. He kills Penguin, Riddler, and Two-Face. So other criminals, major criminals of Batman. Batman unleashes that archetype within his own mind, and he's therefore willing to annihilate these criminals, these villains, these mega-mind villains. But then, in the end, Batman has enough self-discipline and control within the battle of these archetypes to then tuck away in a cell to lock back up the unleashed archetype of the brutal mind, of the brutal man, therein resolving his fear of brutality by addressing his own willingness to take away Joker's life, and therein unleashing the Joker archetype before resolving it and locking it away. So it's kind of a circular type of logic going on there, because Batman kind of ends up where he began, if we're being honest. But and also the issue is that none of it actually means anything, because Batman's never willing to actually take anybody's life. Specifically, a criminal's life is what we're talking about here. So it only has value theoretically. It only has value philosophically. So theoretically, philosophically, it has value, but outside of that, it doesn't have any, what's the term for it? Okay, for lack of a better word, because I can't think of it right now. it has no pragmatic value. It's not practical. There's no practicality because he's not actually willing to do it himself. It's only up in his mind. So that whole resolution, again, it only has relevance within the theoretical, psychological, but there's nothing realistic about it for Batman's character. Is there anything else that we can do here? Oh, it's completely done. Expansion missions. Shadow War. What is this? Beneath the surface. In from cold. Wait, did I ever do these? Who's Shadow War again? That's the Ninja Syndicate, whatever the heck they're called. I think, yeah. I think I remember doing these. Listen, I guess I could finish all this stuff up because they did tuck away a little bit more narrative behind all this. It's just going to happen a lot slower. I'm not going to get around to this for a while. Finishing up all these side quests because there's a bunch of other games I need to play and finish. But there's plenty I still want to do with this game. I really do like the combat. Okay, but listen, outside of the actual combat of the game, the fighting combat is so tedious, is so granular. There's so many counter attacks that you have to do against certain types of enemies. It gets annoying, and there's so much tedium behind all of it. It pisses me off. Goodness, bro. I've been speaking for so long that my voice is really getting strained. I am trying to get through all my thoughts here, but whoa, my freaking voice is dying on me. But here's the thing. Here's the point of what I'm trying to make in everything that I've said so far. I am perfectly fine with stories where the good guy has the philosophy that he shouldn't kill the villain. Now, of course, there's actually a bunch of problems with that, but I'm fine with that being a concept or a theme in every couple of stories. My problem, and it would be best if it were not done in a liberal manner, let's just be honest, because whenever it's done in a liberal sense, it's always done for propaganda. Anyway. But we also need the stories where the hero is not afraid to kill. He sees a bad guy, or he sees a guy that's separate from his ethics. Simple as that. It is amoral. You are fighting for a world different from the world I would fight for. I'm going to fight you. And when it comes down to it, when it comes down to blows, when it comes down to our swords crossing, it's either you die or I die. And a lot of great stories are about the villain dying. And I'm so sick and tired of this idea where our villains, it's somehow ethically compromising that the villain dies. Come on, man. You are therein admitting that there is no good and evil, and that the sense that there is no good and evil therefore means you shouldn't fight for anything. And it therefore means that the malice of a villain should be allowed to exist. Which means that you should accommodate and you should live beside criminality or villainy or just those who have ethics that are detrimental to your own. There's a reason all throughout history for separate nations to go to war, and it has created separate civilizations, some worse and some better than others. That is a simple state of reality to it all. And my thing is I'm okay with these occasional stories where it's like, you know what, we're not going to kill the bad guy because for this hero, he just doesn't want to do it. Let's say for Superman, I think that was always Superman's character, and then they made it Batman's character, because I think there was a point in time where Batman was very willing to kill. And Batman, by the way, is a far more enticing character when he is both unwilling and willing to kill, right? That he's kind of going between this tug of war, and it's based upon philosophy when he's willing and when he's not. There's a far more interesting character, but we basically made Superman's character everybody's character. But you got to think about Superman is the character. He is a freaking demigod, bro. He has the power and the invulnerability to impose himself upon villains or villainy or those of other ethics to such an extent that he does not have to get to the point of killing. But you know, that honestly, that is also just the ethical idea, let's say, of Superman. I don't even really know if that is actually Superman, but I know for a long time that's been Superman's character, is that his principle, one of his foremost principles, is the unwillingness to kill. Again, I don't know if that's always been his character, but for a long time standing, that was his character. That was one of the biggest tenets of his character. And a part of Batman is that Batman is a gray character. He is willing to kill, but also he's also been written to have the conviction to not kill. So anyways, he's more at war within himself, and he's wrestling between when to do it, when to not, okay? I'm okay though with a character like Superman. The issue is that within modern ethics and propaganda, we have to make every single hero be like Superman. No, the hero can both be the man that is refusing to kill and the man that is willing to kill. You can have both men be the hero. And what I'm just simply sick and tired of is that we cannot have both men. Because ultimately, Superman or Captain America, that is the gentleman. And you have a character like Batman, who is more like the brutal man, the beast man. You need both archetypes. And if you tuck away either or archetype, you start having issues. And by the way, it's a little bit of an oversimplification of what is the gentleman, because the gentleman can also kill. But again, there's stories and there's themes where the gentleman doesn't kill, okay? The point is, we need to have stories for the entire range of archetypes. And right now, we are constraining ourselves to one set of archetypes, and we're acting like that is all that is real or necessary. Or let's just say realistic. That is a lie. That is propaganda. And that is, for myself, that's just what I'm so sick and tired of seeing with these stories. You have legitimate bad guys, and they need to be dealt the permanent solution. There's stories where you need to have a hero for that. And you can have other stories where you have a different hero, and he's like, no, you know what? For these philosophical reasons, even though there's every reason to eliminate the bad guy, I'm going to make the choice not to. And not because I'm riding on a high horse, a moral high horse. No, it's because I believe in these principles, these philosophies, under these conditions, and therefore I am justifying my reason to not do this. So I can really appreciate this story and Batman's frick. No, I don't want to speak ahead of myself. Let's just say outside of this story, the archetypes presented here, the narrative presented here, I can really appreciate Batman and what's being said here, what the themes are. I can appreciate it for what it is. I can appreciate all of it for what it is, outside of viewing it or treating it like an ultimatum. The real problem is treating it like an ultimatum. It's treating the ethical essence as an ultimatum, and that there is no cognition to the matter. Because you can go either or way. And there's every reason, based upon conditions, to go either or way.
Hello there, Bruce Wayne. A noble effort, Batman, but did you really believe that I, the Riddler, would fall for such a nakedly implausible charade? You expect me to accept that I've invested time and agonizing time again by some spoiled trust fund-fueled hobbyist? I don't believe it. Why, I refuse to believe it. It's not true. Now, Batman, where were we?
There you go, it worked. For once. Using that freaking move worked. Love it. Uh-oh. Frick, man. Frick, son. I do want to play some of the DLC missions, by the way, of, Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, all of them. We're still gonna do plenty. I don't think I really shared all my thoughts, but, man, that was just one of my biggest gripes with the story, or if not a gripe, it's just the biggest thing I was thinking about, right, as I was, from the ending of this story, right? But I do really appreciate the depth of this story, the darkness of it all.
You arrived! I thought Catwoman's little predicament might encourage your participation. I realized, you see, that the kind of image-obsessed narcissist who places bat symbols on his hubcaps would never willingly submit himself to the kind of humiliation I have in store. Yet, here you are, Detective. The humiliation is waiting below.
I wanted to find Catwoman so that I could, photo mode her. But here we are. Whatever. I don't know who I'm gonna do. Harley Quinn or Catwoman. I don't know what the thumbnail's gonna be. Whatever. We're gonna figure it out. I have no idea.
Well then, Detective, it begins. You are staring, with stupefied incomprehension, at a mechanism I have calibrated to respond to an extremely precise radar pulse. In a moment, I will give you the decrypted code, Dark Knight. Oh, but first, I think we should run through the ground rules for tonight's festivities. Rule the first. You will address me at all times as Riddler, the Riddler, or Mr. Nigma, sir. Otherwise, Detective, I expect your patented brand of churlish silence. Rule the second. All gauntlets, cowl-integrated microphones, and other communications devices, bat-themed or otherwise, are to be switched off prior to the start of the test. Should you be caught using any of these, you will be expelled from the course. Rule the third. The use of purpose-built riddle-solving equipment is strictly prohibited. I am familiar with the contents of your utility belt, Detective, and I will be evaluating any sudden additions over the course of this evening most suspiciously. Rule the fourth. In the event of fire or flood, I will be on hand to guide you to the nearest emergency exit. Assuming, that is, you are not too proud to follow my advice. In that eventuality, we will consider your stubbornly prideful suicide an admission of defeat. Rule the fifth. Do not ask for clues. Rule the sixth.
It's really going in.
My exasperation, choose to provide you with a clue, hint, obliquely meaningful insult, or any other form of assistance, you will not ask for further elucidation, but instead thank me for my kind generosity, whilst adhering to the forms of address outlined in the very first rule. Rule the seventh.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Breaks will be administered on a discretionary basis. Should we find ourselves at a pivotal moment in your arduous journey to self-realization and defeat, I expect you to hold it in. Rule the 8th. Any accidents resulting from my strict enforcement of the 7th rule are to be considered your fault entirely. Rule the 9th. You are required to recite back to me this full list of rules at any moment I request. Again, keeping in mind the naming conventions I outlined in the very first rule. Rule the 10th. I, the Riddler/Mr. Nigma Sir, reserve the right to add or announce further rules if and when they become necessary. Yes, I know what you're thinking, Detective. Mr. Nigma Sir knows how to meticulously structure a good time. In any case, Detective, I'm getting rather tired of the way your stupidity forces me to outline the basics like this. So here's that code you've been waiting for. Let's see how long it takes for you to figure out how to use it. What? How did you solve tonight's very first riddle? Well done.
Interesting.
Welcome to my racetrack, Detective. You must complete 3 circuits of this.
I love it, God. He's still
finishing
talking.
Each before the time limit expires. Come now, Detective. Let's put that grotesque ego-mobile to the test. Be ready, Dark Knight. There's more to this test than just going vroom, vroom,
Oh dear God.
really fast.
Oh freak, so. Oh freak. Oh my.
Tick-tock, Detective. Tick-tock.
Alright. Oh, I see. Okay.
Can that ramshackle motor handle this?
Oh dear God. Oh frick. Son. I can't drive.
No, Detective. Turn around.
Oh my gosh. Oofy. Oofy my goofy.
Faster, Dark Knight, faster!
Oh.
Can those flickering, faltering synapses keep up with my automatically adjusting course?
I'm
Oh,
disabling the
gosh.
afterburner's failsafe. I need the extra speed.
I'm shocked,
Oh
Dark
my
Knight.
gosh.
Is that really as fast as it goes?
Oh my gosh.
Let's work that undeveloped brain of yours.
My gosh, what the heck?
Once more onto the track, Dark Knight. Once more!
Once more?
Now pay
Aw,
attention,
screw me.
Detective. Go left.
Oh, you suck. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Detective, what's that I hear? Is it time's winged chariot hurrying near?
Oh my gosh. Jeez.
You're close, Detective.
I suck.
Don't fumble
Suck
now.
at this.
Don't fumble now.
Oh my gosh. Frick, man, this is tough. The Batmobile does not really control that well, if I'm being real. Oh.
Careful, Detective. I'd like the car to be working when I'm done with you. Dark Knight, don't waste my time.
My goodness.
It's several times
Oh
more
my
precious
freaking
than
Anu's
yours.
son.
Relax, Dark Knight. The ordeal is over. Such a pity the laws of physics prohibit me from testing my non-Euclidean designs. Now then, Detective, hop on the pressure pad beside me.